we've got to talk about the Democrat Party once again today because the Democrat Party is in absolute shambles. And we have yet another person coming out and kind of speaking out against the Democrat Party. And that person is Karine Jean-Pierre, whose name I actually like. But as we all know, she was one of the biggest liars in the Biden administration, Biden-Kamala administration that there was. And now she's coming out and writing a book, pulling Jake Tapper, if I dare say so. But I want to check this out because this is quite interesting because she also said something else. But let's check out what she had to say about her new book. Let's dive in.
Hi, I'm Karine Jean-Pierre, and I am the author of a new book that's coming out this fall called Independent. It's coming out on October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Karine, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers here. That's what they ask me. And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. And the way that I see moving forward in this space that we're in right now is, if you are willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of your how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the community that I belong to and vulnerable communities that I respect, I will be there with you. I will move forward with you. And that is, I think, so important. So this book, Independent, it's about looking outside of boxes, not just always being in a partisan stance. And how do we move forward together in a compassionate way, in a way that really, truly cares about people? October 21st.
First off, don't buy that book. Do not buy that book. That is a load of crap. Her and Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper's book is absolutely flopping. And hopefully her book does even worse than that. That is ridiculous. But now we should start thinking outside the box, right? Now we should, let's not be so partisan. Quite convenient you say that now. But she takes it a step further by going on to say that she's no longer a part of the Democrat Party. Yeah, check it out.
Personally, I think what was the toughest thing to see in the 3 weeks was there was a disconnect for me, what was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director, Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a party do that in the way that they did. And it was hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person who I believe did everything that he can for this country.
She's talking about Joe Biden, just an FYI.
A person who I believe, as I mentioned before, has done more in one term than most presidents had done in 2 terms, historical things. And I was shocked by what I was seeing.
And Karine, just to clarify, these are other Democrats and Democratic leadership coming out against Biden.
Yep, I had never seen anything like that. That was, if you're asking me, the thing that I saw in those 3 weeks, that was shocking. Shocking. And instead of coming together to really be unified and trying to figure out how do we save our democracy, how do we fight back. That's what I was seeing. And, you know, that's what we decided to do for 3 weeks. And, you know, it was truly, truly unfortunate. And I think it hurt us more than I think folks realized to have done that.
And I know we're coming, and thank you so much for your question.
Thank you so much.
So, long story short, she's not leaving the Democrat Party because, you know, her ideas have changed, the way that she thinks about certain things have changed. She's leaving the Democrat Party because they went after Biden. They pushed Biden out. They forced him out. Once it became completely obvious that he wasn't the one running the show, which we all knew from the beginning, but once it was obvious to everyone that he wasn't the one running the show, they pushed him out, and she didn't like it. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff, man. Pretty crazy stuff. And now she wants to write a book, even though she was one of the biggest liars.
It would be wrong to think that the border is open. It is not open.
We're been down to the border. The possible next speaker says that he wants him to go with him. So is he going to?
So look, he's been there. He's been to the border. And since he took office.
When did he go to the border?
But that's not how it works. Like we actually, no.
I know that that's not what you guys want to happen, but that is what has happened.
But that's not, it's not like somebody walks over and that's not how.
Exactly what's happening.
Well,
Thousands of people are walking in a day. Some of them turn themselves over. Some of them are caught. Tens of thousands a week are not. That is what is happening.
it is not that simple. It's not just that people are walking across the border. They want to secure the border. We've been doing that work on our own. The president has done the work to deal with what we're seeing at the border since day one.
Liar.
Because when you look at inflation, when we look at where we are economically, and we are stronger economically than we have been in history.
Liar.
What we saw on January 6th was the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Bro, this whole J6 thing, man, it makes me sick to my stomach. J6 is the worst thing since the Civil War. Bro, stop it. Stop it. That was not that bad. They tried to take over the government. They almost took over the government. Stop it, bro. This is ridiculous. It's so stupid. If all it took was a bunch of people running into a Capitol building to take over our government, we were screwed a long time ago. Okay, if that's all it took, like, come on, man. We got bombs the size of buses, and some people running inside of a building is all of a sudden the worst thing since the Civil War, and like people were taking over the government. Come on, bro. Stop it with the nonsense. Stop it with the nonsense. Absolutely ridiculous. Stephen A. Smith actually came out and spoke out against Karine Jean-Pierre. Check it out.
You were not the White House press secretary when you showed up on ABC's The View a couple of months ago. You were talking major stuff then.
Word on the street is also that Karine Jean-Pierre wanted to get on The View. She wanted to become part of the panel on The View, and they didn't even call her back.
You were not the White House press secretary. You were an American citizen who was not working in the White House. What the hell you going on the show for then? Bloviating about Joe Biden and how he was alert and he was spry and he was a great commander-in-chief and he was sharp and all of this stuff. I don't have the clip in front of me because I just saw the story. You're lucky I don't have time to pull it up. But I'm fully aware of the fact that you were not the White House press secretary when you were on The View spewing the same stuff you had spewed when you were the White House press secretary. So all bets are off. You didn't have to do that, but you chose to. Live with your decisions. Live with your decisions. You didn't have to do that, but that's what you chose to do. You chose to go front and center and still spew the same party line. So what the book's going to tell us? The book's going to tell us more about the Democrats. Is the book going to be an extension of Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book, Original Sin? Yet another Democrat coming out and telling us about stuff that a whole bunch of stuff on the right was telling us, but y'all swore we shouldn't listen to while y'all were engaging in cancel culture, while y'all were engaging in excoriating anybody that called the Democratic Party out for what the hell was going on. That's what we're supposed to do now? That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to listen to you now. Okay, I'll do that. Karine Jean-Pierre, you are more than welcome to come on the Stephen A. Smith Show and explain your book and what it's going to say. But not only why we didn't hear from you while you were the White House press secretary, which is very understandable, but how come we didn't hear that from you afterwards? Why were we hearing the same stuff after you left the White House that you were saying while you were in the White House?
Because this book thing and leaving the Democrat Party, it's all fake news, and it's just a money grab. That's all it is. It's the same thing as Jake Tapper. It is a money grab. And that's why I say, do not buy this BS book. Don't buy it. Plus, we're going to get all the information out of it anyway, right? Without buying it. So don't buy that silly book whenever it does come out. That is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I want to play this clip from Scott Jennings as well. Check it out.
I have a different view. I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend, she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And what she did in the last year and a half of the Biden administration, cheap fakes, the entire cover-up around the president's mental faculties, she was in the center of it.
So you think she's doing this to launder herself?
So congratulations for getting rid of this, but Democrats deserve everything they're getting here for putting her in that job in the first place.
Yeah, it's true. She only got it because she's a black woman. She's a lesbian, right? That's the only reason why she got the job, because she was absolutely terrible, and everybody could see that. Absolutely terrible. But the Democrat Party is fighting back, okay? I got this article from Axios. The fighting within the Biden world is part of larger post-election angst and grievance amid new reporting of how Biden's staff tried to hide his physical and mental decline during his presidency. Jean-Pierre was a key part of the effort to conceal Biden's decline, vouching for his fitness and insisting the president, then 81, was the sharpest ever, even after last June's disastrous debate against Donald Trump. Uncle Trump. What they're saying, one former White House official who worked closely with Jean-Pierre and told Axios that she was one of the most ineffectual and unprepared people I've ever worked with. She had meltdowns after any interview that asked about a topic not sent over by producers. She didn't know how to manage a team and didn't know how to shape or deliver a message, and often created more problems than she solved, the official said. A former Biden communications official threw more wood on the fire. The hubris of thinking you can position yourself as an outsider when you not only have enjoyed the perks of extreme proximity to power, which bestows the name recognition needed to sell books off your name, but have actively wielded it from the biggest pulpit there is as breathtaking as it is desperate. It's difficult to see how this is anything but a bizarre cash grab. Another former White House official familiar with the dynamics told Axios the amount of time that was spent coddling Jean-Pierre and appeasing her was astronomical compared to our attention on actual matters of substance. Bro, they are cooking. They are cooking her behind. Boy, man. Okay, a former senior spokesperson in the Biden administration added, "It's hard to believe someone could look at the past year and genuinely think the party left Joe Biden. That's why I'm leaving the Democrat Party." Former White House communications official added, "Today, Karine lost the only constituency that ever supported her, party line Democrats." Jean-Pierre did not respond to requests for comment. There's more to that article, but I'm gonna spare y'all that. You get the message. So there is an internal civil war going on with the Democrat Party because you have some people, some officials in the Democrat Party that are, blowing the whistle like, hey, this stuff was happening, this stuff was going on. And then you have others that are like, bro, like, what are you doing? What is up with this? And then you got others that are like, nah, I don't like any of this. Why are we fighting amongst each other? I'm going my own way. People like Karine Jean-Pierre. There's so much fighting going on with the Democrat Party, so many different sides and whatnot. Of course, they put on a front and make it seem as if there's nothing going on. Of course, mainstream media will not talk about it because they're an arm of the Democrat Party. But I think it's as clear as day, and you saw it a little bit here with Biden officials, White House officials, going after Karine Jean-Pierre, and Karine Jean-Pierre going after people that went after Biden and saying she's leaving the Democrat Party, which I'm not buying. She's not leaving the Democrat Party. And even if she does technically change, what party she's registered to, she's still going to vote with the Democrat Party. 1,000%. 1,000%. And anybody, because I did see there was a couple people that said they were following Karine Jean-Pierre, which I don't know anybody who would be following her, why anybody would be following her. But I guess even those folks, I don't believe they're turning into Republicans all of a sudden. So I don't get excited when you see people like Karine Jean-Pierre say they're leaving the Democrat Party and other people saying they agree with her. I'm leaving the Democrat Party. Because they're not coming over to the Republican Party. They're still going to vote Democrat. They just are changing, maybe. So I highly doubt some of them will even change their party affiliation. But long story short, they still going to vote Democrat. Make no mistake about it. I have zero faith that they're actually going to switch to the Republican Party. Although they should, right? I mean, leave their woke stuff behind on the Democrat side and come over and join us. But I don't know. What do y'all think, man? Talk to me. The Democrat civil war is in full swing, and it's only just entertainment for us. We get to sit back, eat our popcorn, and enjoy the show. Y'all let me know what you thought about it. Peace and love. I'm out.